Welcome to Sports Extra, your premium online sports show. I'm your host, Ruimbo Chakoreka, and today I can gladly say I'm flying solo. One of the guests who are supposed to join me is still in mourning, regarding some of the stuff that happened on Saturday. And I know you know exactly what happened on Saturday. Well, Real Madrid are the European champions, and we're going to be talking a whole lot about what happened in the UEFA Champions League final, as well as maybe some of the issues that are surrounding that particular final. And then also we look at local football. Guess what? Dynamo's dropped points again. They're in second position. Chicken Inn dropped points again, and they are still sitting on top of the table. But guess what? Chugging along like a small little steam engine is FC Platinum, coming back to the top. Will they take the title again? I surely do not hope so, because we need Zimbabwean football to at least be experiencing different champions. Wait, 4 years in a row. Well, after that, we'll also be discussing what happened in the IPL yesterday. A new franchise, Gujarat Titans, lifting the IPL title. And of course, in Formula One action, Ferrari and Red Bull continue to rule the roost. Will Mercedes recover this season? Is it time for Lewis Hamilton to consider retirement? Well, all this and more coming right after this. Welcome back. So let's get straight into it. Real Madrid were crowned champions of Europe after their 1-0 win over Liverpool. Quite surprising, quite shocking. Real Madrid just remained in the match, particularly in the first half, where Liverpool should have blown them away. But look, Thibaut Courtois was in excellent form. One of those days where munango muka kuti ndiruda kubatira vanhu nhasi. I mean, how does a guy save 9 shots on target? How did he do that? Well, I guess that's the reason why he said, I didn't get enough respect in England. That's why I came to Spain, and now I think I'll get the respect that I deserve. Well, surely he does deserve some respect, because he kept Real Madrid in the game. In the second half, it was absolutely phenomenal how Real Madrid then controlled the match from there. But is it time now that we slap legendary status upon Carlo Ancelotti? 2 UEFA Champions League titles with AC Milan, 2 UEFA Champions League titles with Real Madrid. He won it himself when he was a player. So in total, as a player and as a coach, he's got 5 Champions League titles under his belt. On top of that, he has won a league title in every major league in Europe. He won it with Paris Saint-Germain, won it with Bayern Munich, he won it with Chelsea, he won it with Real Madrid, he won it with AC Milan. Tell me a side that Ancelotti cannot transform. Yes, I can tell you, Everton. He had to leave it all alone, come back to Real Madrid and spur the revival on. So Carlo Ancelotti clearly had Jurgen Klopp's number, and he was able to win the title. But also the way that he's able to make the team gel. He used legends who many thought would not be able to stand up within a final of that magnitude, coming up against an intense side like Liverpool. He used the likes of Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, who I personally thought was not even supposed to be in that side, Casemiro. They all came to the party. Dani Carvajal, look at that level of experience. Of course, he didn't use Marcelo. That was a wise move. Otherwise, Liverpool may just have torn them apart. But look at what they were able to do. Carlo Ancelotti is a mastermind. Many say that once you reach the age of 60 plus, then maybe you lose your edge. But well, it looks like Carlo Ancelotti has been able to prove otherwise. So in my view, let's slap that legendary status on Carlo Ancelotti. He's a legendary manager. He knows how to win the big trophies, and he knows how to get the business done. The next question will be around Jurgen Klopp. Did he get his tactics wrong? Was he just generally unlucky? Well, I can say it's a combination of both. He was unlucky to have lost by 1-0, yet he had 9 shots on target. All of them are being parried away by Thibaut Courtois. He was in imperious form. So hey, that was quite unlucky. But also at the same time, the way that the midfield was controlled by the likes of Toni Kroos, Luka Modric and Casemiro was not just to their ingenious. It was also to the fact that Thiago Alcantara was not in it from the start. Thiago Alcantara missed many of his passes, which he was trying to send out to Luis Diaz. He was failing to control the middle of the park in the way that we know Liverpool can actually do the business. Yes, Fabinho was there. Jordan Henderson, in my own view as well, was not able to place that level of impact that we know him to place on matches as the captain of Liverpool. Another wrong tactic from Jurgen Klopp was handing the starting jersey to Luis Diaz at such a grand stage. Yes, he has been phenomenal, particularly within the last part of the season for Liverpool. But remember, this is an issue of experience and it's an issue of the grand stage. In my view, Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota was supposed to come from the bench as impact players. He could have used his traditional front row of Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino and Mohamed Salah. I wouldn't want to take anything away from Mohamed Salah. I think he actually played really well. But unfortunately, they just couldn't get it ticking in the way that they needed to. Luis Diaz was in Danny Carvajal's pocket. And guess what? That's where he remained up until he was substituted. The moment Sadio Mane went to his traditional left wing, Danny Carvajal had a nightmare. But unfortunately, the time was gone. And all Real Madrid had to do was see out the match. So congratulations to Real Madrid for doing that. Jurgen Klopp, maybe there are some certain things which he will be able to learn as he goes into the next season, because he did say that we'll be coming back into the final next season. Let's look at something else as well around the whole, the whole issue around that particular final. That final was played at a stadium where there was crowd trouble outside. Liverpool have called for an investigation. Are they being sore losers? Well, personally, I think so. But in any case, I think at the end of the day, an investigation has to go in. How did fake tickets get sold? For close to 20 to 30,000 people, fake tickets? That was poor organization in that regard. Whether it was UEFA, whether it was from the French Football Association, whether it was from Stade de France within itself, whatever happened there, it was mayhem, caused chaos, a 30-minute delay. Maybe that threw Liverpool off. Maybe that threw the entire game off because the first 10 to 15 minutes were utterly boring. But let's come to the final aspect. Around this final, done and dusted, some players played their last match for their sides. Marcelo has announced that he will be leaving Real Madrid. He leaves Real Madrid as the most decorated player with 24 trophies with Real Madrid. A loyal servant of Real Madrid, and he was also part of that treble, or rather we can say triple winning a Real Madrid team which won 3 Champions League titles in a row. He leaves with 5 Champions Leagues in his pocket, alongside the likes of Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. Well, they seem to be still there to offer their services, but Marcelo has been a great servant. So good luck to wherever he's going. Sadio Mane, however, according to Fabrizio Romano on Twitter as well as on Facebook, Sadio Mane may be leaving Liverpool. He did mention before the Champions League final that, look, I think I'll make my decision after this thing is done. So the question is, where can Sadio Mane go? Is he going to join Bayern Munich? I think he is. Already rumors have begun, and apparently a figure of around about £35 million has been laid down in order to buy Sadio Mane. That will also mean an increase in the wages that he'll be getting, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind an extra 50,000 or 100,000 on top of what he was already receiving at Liverpool. But will he fit into the Bayern Munich system? That will be a big question. He already has an understanding of German football after having played in Germany and having been spotted by Jurgen Klopp as well. So I think he has an appreciation of how German football is played. He has achieved quite a lot at Liverpool, and maybe it's now time for him to move on. He will be guaranteed a league title at Bayern Munich almost every season for as long as he's there. But, of course, he'll be looking for more European glory. Well, we take a short break. When we come back, we look at local football. Well, this weekend we saw the return of local football. So what was the need for the break? Well, okay, we understand what they were discussing about. But in any case, local football returned. Match day 16 had a lot of juicy encounters. And one of them was FC Platinum winning by 4-0. So the break definitely did them a lot of good. They move into third position. But Dynamos dropped their points. And Chicken Inn dropped their points. Now, Dynamos has really been within the top echelons of football, particularly on the table, for a very long time. In fact, the last time they were sitting on top was close to 10 years ago. But now they've got an opportunity to push for the league title. But will they falter? And will FC Platinum make our league look like a farmers' league? Well, Mr. Titch explains more.
Dull and dismal. That was the back page of the H Metro today, describing the dud of a game that we saw between Dynamos and Head Rentals yesterday at the National Sports Stadium as match day 16 in the Casablanca Premier Soccer League came to a disappointing end. 9 games are played across the 2 match days on Saturday and Sunday, just 10 goals. And when you factor in that 4 of those goals came in the game between FC Platinum and Triangle, as the defending champions look to be finding their stride, they put 4 past potential title challengers at Triangle. This was at Mandawa Stadium on Saturday, but that's as good as it got. Whereas when it comes to the Casablanca Premier Soccer League, and a disappointing weekend of action. Obviously, Tundra Jiraya, the big talking point, having been suspended earlier on in the week, unsuspended prior to the game and uninspired. I was listening to him in his post-match comments. He was saying they were flat, they were poor, they were weak, and even the man of the match, Gordon Ozumurira, saying that they were lackadaisical. And Kumarai Mutukuziwa, his opposite number at Herentals, feeling like they missed a chance. But as far as an advertisement for our local game, I think if there was anyone anywhere in the world who was watching the top flight of Zimbabwean football for the first time, I don't think we might see them coming back to watch our games again. But despite all that boring nature of the game, I think one of the big talking points from match day 16 in the Casablanca Premier Soccer League has to be the crisis at Caps United. Ever since that infamous game about 5 games ago, when the players threatened to strike, they delayed coming to the stadium, it's been a run of 5 games without a win. This is the worst record in the league currently, and so far, even Wawa, who are anchored at the bottom of the table, have managed to squeeze in at least a point in their last 5 games for the Green Machine. They're flattering to deceive. Obviously, a lot of the attention has been going towards the ownership team, Namoto Tisani and Farai Jere, especially with the players complaining that they're not getting their wages. But at some point, as professionals, starting with the technical team of Lloyd Chitembwe, and even some of the senior players, we joked about this at the top of the season, calling them mercenaries. We've got the likes of Devon Chaffa, who've been there, who've done that, Phineas Bamusi, experienced heads, but it's just not working for them on the field of play. The question now is, how long can they go on this run for? How long before Lloyd Chitembwe is called to account? And so we tweeted earlier on saying that Caps United, the way things are going, they might end up in the Northern Region Division 1. I think whoever wrote that actually is a bit delusional, and maybe he loves the Caps a bit too much, because the way things are playing out, I think Caps United are going to end up defunct, non-existent. I think that's the crisis and the seriousness of the situation at Caps United. This is totally unacceptable. They are finding themselves in the bottom half of the table. And yes, Chicken Inn, they still rule the roost after match day 16, just 1 point ahead of Dynamos. But you kind of feel that with the way FC Platinum have been finding their feet, once they make their way to the top of the table, I think it'll be curtains for the rest of the teams in the league.
Well, a great big thank you to Mr. Titch there. We move away from local football and we go straight into the IPL. I love my cricket. I really couldn't play that well when I was back in high school, but I love my cricket. And last night was the IPL final. Gujarat Titans taking on Rajasthan Royals. Now, Gujarat Titans are a newly formed franchise that came and took quite a number of players from various places and made them a fantastic unit. Rajasthan Royals had been struggling to press on ever since 2008 when they actually won the IPL. That was the last time they reached the final. But this time round, they had a lot of firepower and they used it to great effect in the likes of Jos Buttler. He ended with 4 centuries, 4 half centuries. That was a fantastic performance for 2022. But it wasn't enough to take them over the line, as Hardik Pandya captained Gujarat Titans to the title. So anyway, well balanced. Riddhiman Saha, many would have thrown him off and said, hey, he's not somebody who can deliver much, but he did deliver at the top of the order. The balance of Shubman Gill, and of course, the fire at the end of an innings through David Miller was enough to take them through, as well as a well-balanced bowling lineup which had the likes of Mohammad Shami, Lockie Ferguson, and of course, the spin demon, some would call, Rashid Khan, who did a fantastic job. So let's get away from Gujarat Titans. They are the winners. They did well. What about those that did shockingly awful? And that is Mumbai Indians and Chennai Super Kings. Now remember, prior to coming into this one, they were the boys that were just kicking it. Between Mumbai Indians and Chennai Super Kings, we're talking about close to 9 IPL titles between the two sides. So what did they get wrong this season? Well, let me start with Mumbai Indians. First and foremost, their captain was in horrible form. Rohit Sharma was unable to get moving and get going. Throughout the matches, I think he was able to notch up a maximum of only 350s. 3. From such a man, the hitman, the one who we know when it comes to white ball cricket can be so dangerous. Another thing that was quite unfortunate is that right there at the top of the order, they missed the services of Quinton de Kock. He added some zest in terms of their power play, and then they lost their middle order. They lost the Pandya brothers. The question is, who made that horrible decision to get rid of both of them? These are 2 all-rounders, one who gives you a spin option, a pace option, and both of them can bat. And so the middle order was very thin with inexperience, and the experience of the likes of Kieran Pollard was simply not enough to take them over the line. So they struggled the entire season. Chennai Super Kings. Well, at the top of the order, they made a very good addition in the likes of Devon Conway, but the captaincy was too heavy for Ravindra Jadeja. As we saw, he gave up the captaincy after just only 3 matches and handed it back to the man who literally keeps it as his own personal possession, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. But they lost Faf du Plessis. That was a very important cog within the wheel of Chennai Super Kings. And the question will actually be, for how long will they rely on some of the experience that they have in order to continuously carry them through? Is it now time up for the likes of Dwayne Bravo? Is it time up for the likes of Ambati Rayudu? Is it also time up for the likes of Robin Uthappa, whom they added to their squad? Well, I think those are questions that they can only answer for themselves. We take a short break, and when we come back, we wrap it up with Formula One. Jeez, can Lewis Hamilton catch a break? Well, that's not exactly how it's going in the Mercedes camp. As yesterday, Red Bull took another victory in the Monaco Grand Prix. Sergio Perez coming out first, Carlos Sainz coming in second, Max Verstappen third, and fourth was Charles Leclerc. So it was Red Bull, Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari. It just shows that they are dominating right now. Is it because of the rules that were set in place? I don't think so. I think it's just clear advancement in terms of technology and how they've been able to put their vehicle together. And I will say that it is going to be a serious drivers' championship this year between the likes of Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen. Carlos Sainz is putting his name in there, but I don't think he'll be able to actually win it. So maybe between Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen, who are literally the new young boys of Formula One racing, and maybe their rivalry will just overtake what we had with the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. So, what is going on with Mercedes? Now, apparently, as I was doing my research and asking around about what was going on in terms of Mercedes just can't seem to get their car have enough pace to hit the corners as much as they need to, in the way that Red Bull and Ferrari have been able to do so. And even though they remodeled their car, refurbished, did all sorts of things, and George Russell and Lewis Hamilton both said, I think we've now got a better car, it seemingly can't get them up the grid. George Russell, number 6. Lewis Hamilton, number 8. Lewis Hamilton, number 8. Now just in and amongst the points, not even on the podium. It seems like something is really wrong at Mercedes. So apparently, Formula One dominance is usually done over a 7 to 8 year cycle, all dependent on who's the one at who's behind the engineering department. So apparently, there's this guy called Alexander Braun. This guy called Alexander Braun was there when Michael Schumacher was dominating the Formula One scene. He was helping Ferrari develop the plans and develop the car in order to dominate. And they dominated for a very long time. And then, of course, he helped Williams and they dominated for a while. And then he moved over to Mercedes, because Mercedes said, look, come here, we need your help, let's proceed forward. Now, Alexander Braun then came through with the 7-year cycle in which Mercedes have dominated. Here's the unfortunate thing. At the beginning of that 7-year cycle, having put all of those plans together, it is then rumored that Toto Wolff came in and said that Braun was selling plans to other driver constructors. So it never really was substantiated. He was let go by Mercedes, and all the plans that Braun left were then picked up by Toto Wolff. He went on and dominated with the Mercedes team because all of these innovations and patterns that he had laid out for the next 7 years were just there. Now that the 7-year cycle is done, rules have changed. Mercedes have just not been able to get back in and amongst it. They're actually looking like a mid-table driving team, much like maybe the Aston Martins, the Racing Points, the McLarens, and so on, who is saying, and so Red Bull doing the business, Ferrari doing the business. And the big question will be, is it time for Lewis Hamilton to think about retirement? Well, look, the man has dominated the space. He's equal with Michael Schumacher. He just wants one more to become the all-time winner, having won the most Formula One championships. And I think at the end of the day, right now, time is not in his hands. George Russell is coming up strong. With the same messed up Mercedes car, he's doing better than Lewis Hamilton. So the question now is it really the car or is it the driver himself? We saw him complaining about jewelry in more recent times. I would want to wear my necklace. It's important to me as I drive. I'm not so sure if that will add pace to Mercedes, but look, I guess maybe it's one of his lucky charms. And so Lewis Hamilton will have to think real long and hard as the season comes to an end, or rather as the season continues rather, and we'll see how all of that will pan out for him. Well, that brings us to the end of the show this week. We'll be coming through with more videos that you can log onto on our Facebook and Instagram handle. That's at Sports Extra Zim. And of course, don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe, to comment on our YouTube channel, which is Sports Extra ZW. And remember, the extra is without an E. Until next time, cheerio.